I stood on it because the neo, the right was always super against it, and that you're killing life. And he goes, bro, if I could fucking walk, because somebody's embryos they don't want, and that as soon as my friend said it to me like that, I went, oh yeah, maybe we should get on this.
Yeah, it's I tried to reverse all of the injuries I'd accumulated in my life through all sorts of high-impact sports and fractures and
that
surgeries.
That book was the 4-Hour Heal.
4-Hour Heal, yeah. So I tried to do all that in 6 months, reverse everything.
How much of it was actually reversed?
Like 80% plus.
You're very famous. That's amazing. Anything you read on Tim Ferriss, he's described as he put himself through everything. He's his own human guinea pig. You've tried every supplement. You've tried everything. You've tried every food. You've gorged yourself. You've cut weight. You've starved yourself. And now you have found the best way to maximize working the most efficient amount of time, which was it can't possibly be an actual 4-hour work week.
Depends on the person. Depends on the person. My objective with that book is not to have everybody just like staring at a wall for the rest of the week, but to increase their per hour productivity, their output by, let's say, 10x. What they do then is up to them. So they could dial back, spend more time with their family. They could dial back to 20. They could work the same number of hours and just get 10 times as much done.
What if you have a boss that keeps putting stuff on your desk?
Yeah.
Then you're at the mercy of a guy that's on a 44-hour work week.
The short answer is because the majority of my readers are not self-employed. They work what would be considered normal 9 to 5 or worse jobs from a time perspective. You have to make it more expensive to lose you than to negotiate with you. And there are ways to do that so that you can then put proposals in that are attractive, which would allow you to, let's say, work remotely. So you have location independence, which a lot of my readers have done, including...
I'm going to the radio station tomorrow with a chip on my shoulder. I'm going right to Don Martin's office tomorrow and saying, look, this 15-hour work week is bullshit. 15 hours
what
a
is
week?
This? Yeah. What is this, Communist China? What are we talking about?
What is this, Communist China? Tell it to his face.
I had a radio station manager come up to me after the very first public speaking gig I did, which was the tipping point for the 4-hour work week, was at South by Southwest Interactive. And I was in a tiny little room. It wasn't a big, massive room or anything. It was about 150 people. And this guy came up to me after I talked about, autoresponders, negotiating these different remote work agreements and whatnot. And he said, man, I'd love to use this autoresponder idea. Email kills me, but my boss would fire my ass. He's like, I work in radio. And I said, well, he might. That's plausible, but it's the middle of fucking South by Southwest, man. He's not going to fire you. And I said, try it for 48 hours. If he doesn't like it, take it down. And so he put up this autoresponder, which effectively said, in an effort to get actual work done, I'm checking email at 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. If you really need to reach me, please call me on my cell phone. That's all it said. This particular guy, this manager, emailed me later and he said, I thought you'd like my boss's response. I was like, oh, okay. And I opened it up and the boss's response was, awesome time management approach, in all caps. I wish my other managers would do the same thing. And he CC'd all the other managers, because you have to keep in mind the people upstream, if you have a problem with, let's say, inundation of email, it's just compounded for them. They're getting it from 5 more people than you are. And so it pays to test these assumptions. And that's all I do. It doesn't require a lot of brain power.
You seem like it's an interesting life. I mean, I'm envious of it. It seems like you're always running tests and surveys and ratios, and your mind's always working. It seems like there's no problem too small or too large where you can't apply some type of paradigm to it to see if it fits a business model that you can squeeze efficiency from it.
Yeah, and it's honestly just a handful of things I do repeatedly to different areas, like this, the M80 Princeton analysis, for instance.
Yeah, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Now you're in.
I'm catching on. I've had enough caffeine now that I have a little more charisma, and it's that. It's asking, what if I did the opposite? It's asking, what's the worst thing that could happen if I do this for 2 weeks?
But what makes you go from a work week book to a losing weight book?
Yeah.
to the losing weight and the cooking book seem sort of hand in glove, but work week to losing weight seems like a bit of a jump.
Oh, it's a huge jump.
And what was it?
First, I'd been obsessed with performance enhancement and physical modification and all that stuff.
Did you take steroids in the other one?
Yeah, I did actually.
Winstrol, Deca.
No, I used
coffee.
Post shoulder. I had reconstructive shoulder surgery. I used Decadurabolin, HGH, Cytomel, which is T3 thyroid hormone, a combination of things under medical supervision to make sure that my shoulder healed properly. Yeah, no regrets.
And it worked great.
It did, but if you do it properly. And so I have an entire chapter on it. Yeah, I didn't hide it at all. It's like steroids 101. Like, don't believe the hype. Here are the facts.
I talk to my wife often about, wow, we just got to get on that HGH, that Madonna, Richard Branson HGH where we don't age. Madonna looks like Willem Dafoe. And then Richard Branson is, he's probably 180 for all we know. And, he's flying balloons at altitudes that would crush everyone else's skull.
Yeah. I know.
He's fine, no helmet.
Well, that's because HGH makes your skull like 5 times as thick.
Yeah?
Well, the problem with HGH is used by itself, and I'm not a doctor, don't play one on the internet, but in my research...
You were on Dr. Oz's show.
I was.
That's where I saw you first.
I was on Dr. Oz's show. He's a smart guy. He's actually a very smart guy.
He was very taken by you. He was like, you are not going to believe this shit, y'all. Wait. Let's show him. I'm thinking of Steve Harvey. Go ahead.
So, I would love to be on Steve Harvey.
Now, you're going to tell me that nephew Robbie's going to lose all that weight?
What the hell are we talking about?
Who cares?
I don't know.
Oh, HGH.
HGH. So the problem with HGH is that people associate it with living forever, and so they take it by itself in high doses, which is a bad idea because it's not selective. People like your arms might get bigger, but guess what? Your intestines might get bigger too, and your skull, and your feet. And that's why you see a lot of bodybuilders, let's say, who compete in Mr. Olympia, who look like they're 9 months pregnant. It's because their viscera, their organs, have grown from too many anabolics.
So what should you take it with?
You'd use
I just don't want to age.
Low dose, high frequency HGH. I would look at resveratrol, and I would look at a number of telomerase inhibitors. I can give you all that.
Now, Lance Armstrong, he was huge in the news, and he should write Manti Te'o and send him a fruit basket because he pushed him off the front page. Here's a guy that passed 250 EPO tests.
Yep.
You probably know this already, but it was news to me, and I'm working in sports radio. I just couldn't fathom a guy pass that many tests.
Yeah.
That was dirty.
It's so easy to beat the tests.
Then why doesn't everybody beat the tests?
I can actually give you some pretty cool examples why. So I know a lot of professional athletes, a lot, and have been involved with all this self-experimentation and whatnot for so long. I mean, I live in the Bay Area, so I actually knew some of the guys involved with Balco, Victor Conti, and those guys.
Yeah,
fascinating,
sweethearts.
Very, very smart group. I mean, I'm not saying I'm not making a moralistic judgment, but they were really good at what they did.
They're chemists, essentially, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're brilliant chemists.
So part of the reason that athletes get caught, either they're just stupid, there is that, or some of them are. I mean, let's be honest.
I'm laughing because you're correct. I mean, Manny Ramirez took female growth hormone and fertility drugs to undo his steroid usage.
Unless
you're getting a sex change operation, there's something weird with your blood, dude.
Human chorionic gonadotropin.
I don't know. My ovaries are bothering me.
HCG is pretty interesting stuff. But coming back to the main question, no. So part of the reason that people test positive for specific anabolics is because they're fat soluble. What I mean by that is they're off season doing drugs, and they're like, you know what? As long as I give myself 4 months, I'll be clean. Problem is they store metabolites of certain anabolic steroids in their body fat in the off season. Then what happens? They get close to the Olympics. They up their training volume. They start watching their diet. They lose fat, and then they test positive for the drugs that are released from their stored body fat. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? That's also why people test positive for marijuana. And they're like, I haven't smoked it in 6 months. It's like, yeah, dude, it's because your body's been carrying it around.
Yeah, THC, I've always heard, is the absolute slowest thing to leave your system.
Among many other things, like Decadurabolin would be stored. No problem.
What is that?
It's an injectable. It's injectable nandrolone, which is similar to testosterone.
What about baby aspirin? I got a bad baby aspirin.
You could test positive for aspirin, man, this job, forget it.
St. Joe's.
Kiss it goodbye.
I crushed that shit up. But let me ask you this. So the 4-hour work week, you're teaching not Americans, the world essentially. How many languages has your books been redone in?
Close to more than 35, I think about 40.
That's amazing.
It's
I'm
nuts.
just an English book writing man.
Well, I didn't have to translate them, thank God.
I know, but still, it's super badass.
Yeah, it's fun.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's well deserved. So the 4-hour work week, it's how to maximize your time and be most efficient. The 4-hour body is how to lose weight efficiently without, doing all these aerobics classes and running and sprints and going up and down hills and then jumping rope and this, and your trainers are this and that. But then it seems like the 4-hour chef, if I'm cooking, 4 hours seems entirely too long.
Yeah, this is the
Seems
most...
like you went the other way with this.
Yeah, the 4-hour chef is the most difficult to articulate, not because it's confusing, but because I'm trying to do two things with one book, which some might say is a mistake, but I'm really happy with how it turned out. I just want to add one thing, which is the 4-hour body is really a choose your own adventure guide to the human body, because it talks about everything from hacking the NFL combine to swimming to holding your breath to sex to fat loss. But fat loss is the part that sex. A lot of chapters on sex.
Come again?
Chapters on doubling, tripling testosterone, sperm count, female orgasm. There's a bunch of sex stuff.
Well,
we need to get you. We need to get you.
I guess I didn't get to that on my iPad, or I got to it on my iPad and ruined my iPad.
Which was the reason it was actually yanked from Costco. People were like, "Oh, it was brilliant, that marketing that you did with placing all the vagina diagrams in the middle of the book." And I'm like, "What?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, it flips right open to the vagina diagrams." And all these moms just got
the
furious.
4-hour cunnilingus.
Yes, that is altogether too much.
Yeah, it is. It's like, how many alphabets am I supposed to do down here?
You need to do neck raises for that. I'm not interested. For every additional centimeter and neck diameter I have, people think my IQ is 20 points lower.
As Chris Rock said, look, I'll give it one coat.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So what are the two things you're trying to do with the 4 hours? The book it's out now?
Oh, definitely. Absolutely.
And you are a New York Times bestseller. You are hot shit. And this is The 4-Hour Chef by Tim Ferriss. Ferriss. Go get it, Mohr. This is cool. You know what? You can see on the Tumblr page. I'll show you guys that it works, because Angie's going to take pictures of me. I think I'm 200 now. There's a pizza in my kitchen right now from Beach Street Cafe, and it's the East Sider with the capicola ham and the artichoke hearts, extra cheese, and mushrooms. And I had how many slices? Oh, all of it. So that's what I did before you came, and then I had a diet ginger ale because I burped a lot, and then so now I think I can get up to 204 pretty easy.
Yeah.
For these photos that Angie's going to take.
You should take it up a notch. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I'm going to take it up a notch, because I do have right now.
You drink salt water to bloat.
Just pancakes and beer. Pancakes and beer. The De Niro diet for Raging Bull. Pancakes and beer. So this, and then I'm going to do your 4-hour body. But I need a specific thing. It is a choose your own adventure thing, so much so that I wanted to dog ear and go back, because some of the stuff was so simple to follow. And then, and this is not a criticism at all. There was, like you said, hacking the NFL combine and the sex and the vagina dialogue and the picture of the vulva. But that wasn't applying to my diet per se. Or did I miss that chapter?
Maybe it distracts from the diet. Yeah, right. No, it doesn't apply to the diet.
If you and I will be friends, and would you, and this isn't something, people can get this from your blogs and stuff on your website, which I've been on, and see your clips on The View and talking about Barbara's clitoris and Dr. Oz, when you talked about Dr. Oz's clitoris, and then is there a specific line that I should find? Is there a linear diet path, or is it simply I really should choose my own adventure and see what works for me?
No,
if on a 30-day hard clock,
30-day hard clock, all you need to read are the 2 slow carb diet chapters in the 4-hour body.
All right,
that's it.
4-Hour Chef. What are the 2 things you tried to write at the same time?
The main goal was to teach people how to learn any complex skill in minimal time. And I interviewed a lot of the
culinary complex skill, or
any skill,
like archery,
basketball, pancakes, speaking languages, musical instruments, whatever. Because this is what my readers have been asking me for 5 years: is a book for the mind, like instead of the 4-hour body, 4-hour mind. Right? I wanted to write that. The problem is, trying to get Americans specifically to read about learning is extremely difficult because it brings back a lot of shitty memories from school. So I wanted stories that I could tell. I wanted a narrative, kind of like Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance.
Yeah.
And so I chose cooking.